the Supreme Court has shown due restraint in declining to apply the provisions of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act to mentally retarded adults whose mental age may be that of a child. It would have been tempting to give a purpose of interpretation to the term child under POCSO, which refers to those below 18 years of age, and rule that it encompasses those with a mental age of a person below 18. It would have been compelling to acknowledge how similarly a child and an adult with inadequate intellectual growth are placed when it comes to sexual assault. Both may show the same lack of understanding about the situation they are in and incapacity to protest. No doubt, any expanded definition to encompass both biological and mental age within the POCSO framework would have helped extend its beneficial features to another section of vulnerable persons. The court has chosen the challenging path of analyzing the import of such judicial interpretation, along with the question whether expanding the notion of age is within its remit. It has ruled that it is outside its domain. POCSO is meant to protect children from sexual offenses. To extend it to adult victims based on mental age would require determination of their mental competence. This would need statutory provisions and rules. The legislature alone is competent to enact them. Judicial conferment of power to trial courts to treat some adults as children based on mental capacity would, in the bench's opinion, do violence to the existing law protecting children from sexual offenses. It noted that there may be different levels of mental competence, and that those with mild, moderate, or borderline retardation are capable of living in normal social conditions. The art and craft of stitching up pragmatic, if sometimes painful.
Next.
Poland's right-wing government has been waging a relentless war on democratic institutions ever since it assumed office in 2015, but it may have gone too far now with its moves to curb judicial independence, which have been categorically opposed by President Andrzej Duda. Mr. Duda, an ally of the ruling Law and Justice Party, PiS, vetoed two measures that militate against the rule of law. One of them requires all judges of the Supreme Court to step down, except those the president thinks should stay on. The second gives Parliament control over the mechanism that deals with their appointment. However, he did assent to another controversial measure which empowers the Justice Minister to sack the heads of lower courts. The government of Prime Minister Beatriz Szydło was able to initiate these unpopular pieces of legislation because it has already stripped the tribunal that adjudicates on the constitutionality of laws relating to its powers. The government has claimed that the overhaul was intended to rid the judicial system of Soviet-era remnants, but most polls seem to think otherwise. They have tasted economic prosperity and political freedoms in the post-Cold War years and after the country's 2004 accession to the European Union. They have also grown accustomed to standing up for their rights against arbitrary encroachment, and with success. The government was forced to reverse a socially regressive policy on abortion that even criminalized termination of pregnancies regardless of circumstances, including rape. Outrage against the latest judicial reforms has drawn thousands to the streets in protest against the PiS regime. Poland has been the poster child of the integration, and the institutional clampdown in this otherwise thriving economy is understandably causing concern in other European capitals. The European Commission has said it would start legal proceedings. Under the rule of law framework, it can strip a member country of its voting rights. But given the sensitivities about national sovereignty, there are bound to be limits on the application of procedures, even where they may be sound under the law. Moreover, Hungary's continued clash with the EU over similar issues seems to have made little difference to its dismal record on democratic governance and accountability. Experience suggests that leading by example and exerting diplomatic pressure, rather than preaching from the pulpit, is a more realistic and effective course to adopt. The art and craft of stitching up pragmatic, if sometimes painful, political compromises has been the story of the EU, where the imperatives of staying together trump almost all else. Poland's robust civil society may, in the end, be more effective in keeping its government accountable.